This time, we will call the March Elizabethton Board of Education meeting. Did that work, Darren? Nope. We'll start again here in a second. Y'all might enjoy it more without the microphone. Test, test. Okay. It's time to call to order the March Elizabethton Board of Education meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone. This time I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Van Huss for a moment of silence and pledge to the flag.
Please stand. Let's pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It's time to approve the consent and regular agenda. Do I get a motion to approve?
I'd like for us to consider to combine C and D and F through J, just lump those together so we can make one motion.
So on the regular agenda, C and D together, and then F through J.
Yes.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, so that's approved. It's now time for citizens to speak. We did not have anyone asked to speak, so we'll move on to special recognitions. We have a number of them. Just so you know, if you would remain until all the groups are recognized, and then we'll have a time to dismiss those that don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting. We imagine there may be a few, but you'll have a chance to leave, and then we'll pick back up in just a minute. So, Mr. Van Huss.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Googe, if you'll come up first and do your presentation.
There were only 7 students chosen from the state
next up, Coach Fox, if you want to come up and share about Tioga girls basketball. Matt, if you will, you come and grab this here. That way the people that are watching at home can get here.
See? So thank you again for the recognition. I want to thank Elizabeth City Schools. I want to thank the community for this opportunity to do what I do, coach and teach in this school system. Special thanks to Alex Ingram and Abigail Thacker. They were assistant coaches to put up with me and coach these girls, and I appreciate all the time and effort that they put in, because it does take a lot of time. And it was a great season. It was a good season. As coaching, it was fun. We were all sync. It was great. Girls put in a lot of work. So I just want to thank them. I want to thank their parents, and I want to thank the girls for their hard work this season. Special group, we got some missing for softball and sickness. So we had 22 girls, so obviously not all of them's here, but they put in a lot of work this season. And just a few stats real quick, just talk about the JV and the varsity girls. Just want to recognize this, JV-wise. So 7th, 6th graders, we don't play any 8th graders down. This season alone, that's what the orange shirts is for, 22-0, undefeated season, first one since 2011. So congrats to them. And the thing with 22-0, they won the conference, they won their Christmas tournament, and then within 2 years, this bunch, the 7th graders particularly, they were 36-8, 9-1 in the Christmas tournaments. And the one game they lost in the Christmas tournament, they beat that same team twice to win it. 4 games in one night last year. So they battled. So I appreciate them. They did really good years. So this is, during my 9 years of Tia Duggar, this is the second conference championship we've had, particularly with JV. So varsity-wise, varsity this year they finished 15-9 overall. They were 4th. We finished 4th this year. But man, this was the season that those 9 losses was an average of 7 points. So it wasn't that we got blown out. They were there. So they did really good. So 15-9 overall, 3rd place in the Christmas tournament. And this 8th grade bunch particularly, they set the standard for all in. It's been a special group each year I've coached, and the groups from the get-go, starting with Marisite twins and everyone before them, and Melinda obviously sitting over there. They set the tone. But this one thing I will say about the 8th graders, they have put in the work. Anytime I had the gym open, they were there. Not just that, they'd want to be there. Very similar to the seniors of the high school group. Somebody asked me, what was 2 words give me 2 words that you would describe this bunch? And I said, it's simple, heart and resilience. So, resilience. So, and within 3 years, this 8th grade bunch finished 46-24. So, that's pretty good. I'm very proud of them. I know Coach Andrews is going to be tickled to get them. It's another state caliber team. Proud of the hard work they put in. And for the 6th and 7th graders, I can't wait to continue the next 2 seasons with them. So I really appreciate them. One special announce I do want to say, because I think she deserves it, is that Molly Wallen has been selected to play on the Rocky Top Battle War East versus West All-Stars team. So she was selected from our school along with some other players from our conference. So it stretches east, stretches all the way from RN right at the tip of Knoxville. So congrats to her. So that will be played on March 30th. So really proud of her for that. So, but I want to thank you all. Thank again, community, parents, girls, good job. It's been It's a great opportunity.
Okay. Next up, Tia Duggar cheer. Microphone.
So I also want to thank the community and the parents. They drive, you all put in the hours too of driving them to and from practice. A lot of them take additional things outside of just cheer. When you think of cheer, you're like, oh, they get there and get the crowd pumped up. That's nice. But you would not believe the tumbling that these girls have, the strength that these girls have. They can throw baskets really high. We saw that on some of the great media photos from Nicole. And they, let's see, Reese has a full, Maddie has a tuck. Will has a full, or not, he's working on a full. He's got a layout. These two girls, I can count on them, Riley and Kinsley. I can count on them for anything I need to lift. If we're going to try a prep, they're so willing just to jump in and try it. So I have Kinsley Carter, Reese Campbell. Will Buckles has been toughy, but we've kind of transformed him into a little bit of cheer too. He loves both sides of things. And then Maddie Everhart, and then Riley Harris. And I'm going to miss this group because they came in as 7th graders, and just to watch their growth is incredible to see. And their bond. At first I thought, oh my gosh, are we going to get along or not? But they actually, I think it's like a sisterhood, the 4 of them. They can go, and it's going to be awesome to watch them at the next level. I've been blessed to coach. I was a product of Elizabethan Cyclone cheerleading, and I had Victoria, and then I lost Victoria and got Vanessa, and then I lost Vanessa, and I've gained Kinsey Baines, and she cheered at Milligan, but Victoria and Vanessa both cheered at Elizabethan too. So I think, like they said before, the opportunity and to give back to your community that built you and made you such a strong person, to give back into that is just incredible. So I'm sure we'll see these faces, basketball, cheerleaders, coaching in the future, and that's what inspires me. I'm getting old, so somebody's got to take over. But we really want to recognize Will too. I've had him for 3 years, his 6th, 7th, and 8th grade year, and we'll have to find a new one this year, sadly. But there's a plaque at Tia Duggar now that's been put in the trophy case for him because he was the very first junior high school toughie. We've had to kind of fight for things along the years, like we got stunting back in the mix. They didn't used to let junior high school girls stunt, so we got that. 6th graders are now allowed to try out. I know when I had to wait till my 8th grade year to try out at Tia Duggar, so that's a plus. We've opened the door there. Will doing such a good job, but he's our very first one, so we'll need a new toughie next year. But we have our squad's comprised of 18 girls right now. Next year we're looking at a JV and a varsity. That way we can build up the program and get more people to send to Victoria and Vanessa. So thank you guys for the recognition too. We really appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Campbell, you're up.
So like all good leaders, I have learned how to become a great delegator. So I'm going to let the students know, y'all can come right here. Y'all can come right here. I'm going to let them tell you guys about what they've been up to.
Alrighty, so hi, my name is Kara. I am a junior at Elizabeth High School. And so we were in a competition. It was a PBS Student Journalism Challenge. This is the first year that they had the event, which was open to all secondary schools across the country, and there were 3 categories: audio, video, and written. So it was like a newspaper article. So the challenge was to create a 4-minute journalism piece around the theme, My Education, My Future.
So, which class was this? We did a project as part of our Intro to Teaching as a Profession class. I know it sounds kind of crazy that we entered a journalism challenge in an Intro to Teaching to Business class, but I mean, not Intro to Business, I mean Intro to Teaching. Silly me. Anyways, so I think it really worked out. And then the competition we entered was, so one group wanted to complete the video portion of the competition, and the other wanted to create an audio piece, and there was also a written part as well. And yeah, there was a written part as well, but we just weren't interested in the written. So we did the video and the audio, and somehow out of, I think, 37 states we won. So. So we're very professional here.
So the title for my part of the project, which I was part of the audio group, which was comprised of myself, Kara Cole, Shaylee Mathis, Morgan Compton, and Michaela Crow, who unfortunately isn't present with us right now. So our piece was titled Unengaged, Uninterested, But Why? We investigated why some students feel unengaged in their education and what could be done to help students who feel unengaged, and how to help them feel more connected to their school and their community.
Okay, so I was the video group, and the title of our name was Airless Ugly Places, because we do feel that school is ugly and airless, and it's a place we have to go. So we set out to discover why our school has no windows, despite all other schools in Elizabethton having so many. By interviewing architectural experts, we found out that the energy crisis and oil embargo of 1972 and 73 made architects design schools with no windows to conserve energy. We interviewed specialists and experts, including Mr. Van Hust himself. We asked him, to find out the impacts on the student learning and options to help with these issues.
Let's do audio group first. Audio group. This is hot off the presses from Washington, D.C. It just came in the mail today. But this was for our audio group, and they did win Best Journalism Piece in the entire country from PBS. So, this is the Video Group National Champions from the PBS Student Journalism Challenge.
Mr. Campbell, if someone wants to share, so it's my understanding that the News Hour shared some information about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so PBS NewsHour featured the video winners, since that's a kind of a video format. And so about 8.7 million people got to hear about Elizabethton High School last Friday in their presentation. So they've really helped Elizabethton get some positive press. So I appreciate the work that the students did.
And what about if someone wants to view these?
Yeah, maybe we can get that to Nicole and she can put it on the website, but it is being featured on PBS NewsHour on their YouTube page and their Facebook page and different places like that.
The audio as well?
Yep.
Great.
Sure thing.
On there? Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, next up. Coach Andrews, come up and share about the girls' basketball team, Elizabethton High School.
First off, I want to thank board, our administration at the high school. This is not possible without the support of all those people. Coaches, Melinda, Gordon, Gary, Macy, she's been a little lazy right now. She is 9 months pregnant. This group right here, 30-5, undefeated in conference, district champs, region champs, sub-state, Final Four. We're gonna keep from crying. Probably the toughest schedule in the state. We put it together that way because we knew if we wanted to get back down there and have a chance, that's what we had to do. Quit. Hardest working group that I've ever been around. What was the senior class? Over 90 wins, senior class. Quit. I've tried to stay away from them for a week. They represent everything that is good about being a Cyclone. Never once have I had an issue outside of basketball. Never had an issue inside of basketball. We talk about, it's coach speak, being the standard, setting the standard. About Christmas, we said we want to be above the standard. And they have set the bar extremely high. Work ethic, attitude. I don't know if we've ever had a bad practice. We might want to kill each other at some point in time, but that was just part of it. And I know on somebody's post on Facebook that I saw, after we got beat, Coach Harden said, a lot of people put family on a shirt. These girls lived it. Closest group that I've ever been around. I mean, I had to make them get away from each other a lot of times. We've got all conference. I'm going to miss somebody, so I'm not going to go through it individually. We got all conference up here. We've got player of the years. We've got tournament MVPs. We've got tournament all tournaments through all of them. We got all state. We got kids that's going to be playing in the Coaches Association All-Star game. We got players that's going to be playing in the FCA All-Star game. As far as the seniors, they're going to be our bosses one day, and I can't wait. Okay? Because they do everything the right way. There has never been a time that I thought, what the heck is she doing? But they do everything the right way, and they're going to be missed. But they've set the bar high, they've set the standard high, and that's what's exciting. Because they have taught everybody down below that's working their rank the way up of how to do things. I mean, we get messages all the time on social media. Will they come watch our little girl play in Junior Cyclones? Will they come do this? Will they come do that? And it's just, that just means that they are looked up to and that they're doing it the right way. Am I missing anything? I'm sure I have. But once again, we thank you, everybody, for tonight, but just throughout the whole year. With looking at the stats and everything, this is probably one of the best teams of Elizabethton Lady Cyclones to ever take the floor. And there's been some good ones, and there's been some really good ones. But I'm telling you, this is This is in the top 5, maybe the top 3 of the best teams that's ever been on the floor. They made me look a lot better than I was. Thank you.
All right, now that Andrews has us all crying, we'll take a break right here.
Yeah, at this time, if you are not planning on staying for the rest of the festivities, you're free to go. We'll take about a 5-minute recess.
There it goes.
Okay, we'll get back into business at this time. At this time, we'll call on Mr. Van Huss for the director's update.
Thank you very much. Again, just thank you for the opportunity to allow us to share just really a snippet of all the incredible things that are going on in Elizabethton and throughout our schools. And we're just so very, very proud of them having an opportunity to go today to see PAG meeting, community meeting at the high school, and our students were presenting to community members about some of the projects they're doing and working on, and just so much of those top things are going on all over the district, and just very, very blessed to be here to witness all the great work that's going on. So congratulations to everyone we were able to honor and recognize tonight. I wanted to let you know that next Thursday, a week from today, they will begin work at Harold McCormick. Much needed, long delayed, but they'll actually start work there and be working through spring break to do some asbestos abatement to begin with, and then they'll start working on 2 classrooms to start putting those finishes back in place. So Mr. Wampler and the staff there, they're obviously excited about that. It's going to be a challenging year and a half or so, but they're so ready for that, and I'm sure that it will go extremely well. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that progress. As you know, we're going to have budget workshop number 1 here at the conclusion of this meeting. We'll still continue to collect information regarding the new funding formula. And again, as more of that information comes out, that will be part of our own ongoing discussions as we work toward finalizing this year's budget. One big component of that, again, is where his teacher salary is going to come out and all that. Again, as the governor's proposed in his latest budget, a goal of trying to reach all teacher pay BS 0 scales across the state be at a minimum of $50,000 by the fall of 2027. So that's a lofty goal, and so we're going to continue to follow that closely to see how the funding for that, if that works, and how that flows to us. And again, lots of things there that we're trying to work on. Also, I will be attending the TOSS Legislative Conference in 2 weeks. That will be in Nashville, so I hope to continue to get some information there on new legislation coming out of the General Assembly as we move toward the end of their session as well. Continuing to work and hear things about proposals in regards to 3rd grade retention. At this point, the bill that seems to be working its way through both the House and Senate, not a whole lot of change. A couple of things that are positive. One is a focus on early grades. If students are retained in grades K through 2, part of this new proposal would be that districts will be required to have students in tutoring if they are retained in one of those lower grades, which we already do, so that's already in place. So we certainly think that that's a good idea because we're already doing that. Secondly, there is some discussion about one way that would maybe make an appeal not necessary for a student that scored in the approaching category, that if they've scored 50% in the 50th percentile or higher on their benchmark test, which of course is Ames Web, if that happens, then there will be no need for an appeal. They'll automatically not be in a position to be considered for being retained. So that's the biggest changes that we see at this point in time. So it looks like moving forward that, it is going to be much as the current legislation is. And so we'll continue to work with those students. As you know, spring break's coming up here in another week and a half. When we get back from spring break, it just seems like time's really going to speed up, and we'll be at the end of the school year before you know it. We'll be approaching testing season, and so everyone continues to work very, very hard toward those. Just a reminder that graduation is May 20th, right around the corner. That's a scary thought, right? But just wanted to mention that tonight just to make sure that you have that on your calendars. We certainly hope that you will be able to attend there. So that's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you. Board member reports. Anybody have anything to report? I know I'll go ahead and say Jamie and Mr. Van Huss and I had the opportunity to go to the TSBA Legislative and Legal Conference down in Nashville last month. So many things going on, potential law changes and just legislation that's happening. I mean, I will say I really appreciate TSBA and how they stand up for what they know that teachers in Tennessee and school boards in Tennessee want them to fight and to help draft and to help kind of make us aware so that we can be informed and we can go talk to our legislators about what their what's going on. Very informative. Everything they do, I think, is beneficial. And so And sometimes it's scary to hear what they're dealing with at that level. And don't have to agree with everything, but at least we have some people running point on that kind of thing. And I will also mention, if you didn't see Mr. Van Huss's email about the Law Institute in July, we know that's a great conference, so if you'll let him know if you're interested in attending that. But anybody else, anything on any reports?
I went to the awards ceremony at the high school for the audio and visual that they just did. I was very impressed. The audio was very enlightening because it recorded a classroom before a teacher walks in, and the kids were talking and laughing, and then when the teacher started, they were wondering why they disengage. Why? And then the video one, I mean, I learned so much because I often wondered, why is there no windows in this school? I mean, it was like you were in prison. Like, like when you go to Nashville and you walk out of the hotel and it's like, well, there is sunshine out here. But, it was just remarkable. They did a remarkable job.
Yeah, very talented.
The good thing about attending the high school when it first opened as a ninth grader was there were so many leaks that you didn't really notice there
Yes.
weren't windows. So just buckets everywhere and plastic running. We didn't have time to notice that we couldn't see the rain outside. But again, and again, just to go back to what Mr. Van Huss said, when you think about every area that was represented in the number of students that were here, because so many times it's just athletics or it's just music, but then we have the journalism, and then we throw that stuff in all the time. And again, I mean, sometimes we're very fortunate and we don't realize some students like this don't come through very often. Now, we always have good students, but we had some cream of the crop people involved in some things this year. And appreciate, again, administration, teachers, and our students who put the time into that. So, anything else? I don't see Mr. Simmerly, so Miss Senior Gracie, anything that you have?
I apologize for my voice. I'm having an allergy attack. Just throwing that out there. But I was going to talk about the team and everything, but y'all already stole that from me. So this previous, not this week, but last week, Monday and Tuesday, myself, Hannah McCoy, Max Garner, and Izzy McQueen were able to go to the SCOPE conference in Nashville. That was probably one of the most educational things I've done my entire high school career. It was so informative about things that are going on that I had no idea. I didn't even know what to expect when we got there. We knew nothing. And so we're going to be doing a presentation about that for the Chamber of Commerce breakfast on the 20th, I think. And yeah, it was the coolest thing ever. The best time, super informational. A lot of things were brought up that we never really had thought about until we were there. That's something that I really would love to continue to happen at this school. I think that, if allowed, send more students and have more people be able to experience this. But we just wanted to thank you guys for letting us go. We had a great time. Food in Nashville was great. Cannot complain. But it was phenomenal. So we thank you guys for that. And that's pretty much it for me.
And again, if you wanted to share even here, I know that the topics that you debate are always fascinating.
Yes, they
So
were.
those are things you probably don't think about that much. And again, also to the shoes that you're going to fill. Again, Hannah, your time will start here a little later. So, but congratulations on being the next liaison. You do have big shoes to fill. So we miss Miss Gracie. All right. We'll now move on to the regular agenda. First item on the agenda is to approve the recommendation from EC Schools Math Textbook Committee for the following math textbooks for local adoption: Eureka Math Squared, TN Edition K through 1, Curriculum Associates iReady Classroom Mathematics 2 through 5, Big Idea Learning Tennessee Math 6 through 8, Big Ideas Learning Tennessee Math Algebra Geometry Algebra 2, SVVAS Larson Elementary Statistics Picture of the World for Statistics, SVVAS Demana Calculus Graphical, Numerical, and Algebraic Calculus, and SVVAS Blitzer Pre-Calculus. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Right, motion and a second. All right, thank you. Any questions or any comments from anyone on that? I mean, obviously, they're displayed all around.
Would you care to read that list again?
If you want.
I
Yeah,
apologize. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's one of them that I was a little bit struggling.
No, and I don't know if Dr. Newman would like to come up and just talk just briefly about the process that we went through. I mean, we've always had textbook committees, but I've really been impressed with the way this group has certainly gone about their business, as well as the next item that we'll talk about in a minute. But it's really taken that committee input to a whole other level. So do you mind to just share briefly about that?
So we had representatives from each of the schools and each grade level. And we put the books up here, and all the samples that came in, we did training with our teachers, with our leaders, also just what our shift is. The state has really worked on changing the standards of the content before we look at textbooks. So their goal is to have the standards changed, have the publishers to create the textbooks around the new standards, and then when we look at the textbooks, they align with the new standards, so we don't have to worry about the misalignment or what's not working. So when we get our curriculum, everything that you see is approved by the state. So we look at it, they dig deep in it, we gave them some prompts, some questions, some rubrics to look at. They dug deep into it to see what was best for our students. They didn't look to see what was best for them. They looked to see what would help our students to achieve and be successful in math. So they picked their top choices. We even had publishers to come in and present, and so they were able to listen to the publishers and about the product and how we can best use it. So now we have a grant. It's called the Math Implementation Grant. So our next year we'll be implementing. So we're hoping to gain their approval tonight, purchase the materials, get the materials in our teachers' hands, and start the training process now before we even start implementing next year.
And I would just like to say, that's not what she talked about, you would think the natural flow would be, the state will approve standards, and the textbook companies will have an opportunity to see those, and then they'll create textbooks. I can just tell you that's not been the case. So this is a refreshing realization of how important that is. So appreciate all the work that Dr. Newman, as well as the rest of the committee, did on that. And again, just about how they went about their work, really digging into not just saying, I like the cover of this book better, or those type things. They really dug into the core of the instruction and the entire series. So appreciate all that. Any other questions on that?
Comments? All right, the item is to approve the recommendation from ECS Math Textbook Committee for those math textbooks for local adoption. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? More than one way to get around that. All right. Next item is to approve the recommendation from Elizabethton City Schools K-2 teachers to change ELA Knowledge textbooks adoption to Amplify, CKLA Knowledge. Can I get a motion to approve? A motion and a second? Second, all right.
Thank you.
Very
And-
similar.
Yeah, very similar. This is a little bit different in the fact that we've purchased ELA materials a couple of years ago, and I want Dr. Newman to kind of share with you why this has been brought back up.
So the same process basically happened with our ELA. We had a list of state-approved programs that we could choose from. So we purchased Benchmark Advance for our K-5 teachers to use and to implement. And as we moved along, it just became harder for our K-2 teachers to really use that material to support our students with phonetic awareness. Help me out here, guys. phonics, phonemic awareness, those types of things. So the state came out with the 360 reading training, and we had all of our teachers trained in the reading 360, and it's just science of reading, and so we learned a lot during that. So they also came out with a new foundational piece of program. So we purchased that for our teachers, and they started using it. And then they said, is there something like this that we can use for knowledge building? So there's two components to reading. The first part is the foundational skills, how you decode words. The second part is building the knowledge of your students. So we wanted to have a program that really worked together. So we purchased CKLA with ESSER's funds to get the foundational skills. And then this year we have had the opportunity to pilot the knowledge portion of CKLA. And I've never seen this, but we had all of our K2 teachers to vote 100% to change their adoption. So I think this is the first time we've ever had 100% in agreement for any kind of program. So we're excited about it. We'll start implementing it fully next year, if approved.
All right. The item is to approve the recommendation from Elizabethton City Schools K-2 teachers to change ELA knowledge textbook adoption to amplify CKLA knowledge. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, we'll combine C and D, and that's to approve a state-recognized partnership agreement between Elizabethton City Schools and the University of Tennessee at Knoxville College of Education, Health, and Human Sciences for a Grow Your Own grant, and to also approve Appendix D, which is the employer acceptance agreement for the Grow Your Own grant. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Second, got two. All right, thank you.
So just to update you, we currently are partnering with Milligan University in a Grow Your Own program, and essentially what that is it provides opportunities for teacher assistants within the system to earn their to go back to school essentially and earn their teaching degree, with the hopes that eventually they would receive a teaching position. So there's no commitment when you go through that program that the district has to hire you, or there's no guarantee for that, but the bottom line is they receive their degree at no cost. So that's worked extremely well. We have 3 students that are currently, 3 employees that are, they're also students, that are in that program right now through Milligan, and it's been tremendous. The state has since kind of revamped that program and tried to create a model that is sustainable into the future. And so part of that is they've created a Grow Your Own Center at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So that's what this first item is it a partnership between us and that particular area to set this program up. The second component is as a district, we have to be approved by the state of Tennessee to be able to operate in this way and partner with UT and other institutions of higher learning throughout this process. So we have already been approved by the State Department of Tennessee to have our Grow Your Own program, but this Appendix D is more information about when we have those employees that are interested in that, if we evaluate that, and if we accept them into the program. This Appendix D kind of lays the groundwork for what that relationship will look like between us, the student, and the college and universities. So that's essentially what this is. We're still learning a lot about this program. It's brand new. I think we may be the first district that I know of in Northeast Tennessee that's been approved by the state as a Grow Your Own district. And so we're going to start small. We'll evaluate any employees that are interested in that, and we will start small because we want to make sure that we do it right as we go through. We certainly don't want to oversaturate things there and create situations where there's just no opportunities for jobs beyond that. But we're excited about what, again, with our experience with Milligan, we're excited about this new project and this new program and how that will piece together and, again, be something that can be sustained over time. We have great people in Elizabethton, and this is just a way to promote from within, which we have a very good track record of promoting from within. It's just the price is right on this for those individuals.
And I never would have thought when they talked about shortage of teachers other places. It's here
Yes.
around us too, so that may help in some way with that also. So, okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, the two items are to approve a state-recognized partnership agreement between Elizabethton City Schools and the University of Tennessee at Knoxville College of Education, Health and Human Services for a Grow Your Own grant, and to approve Appendix D Employer Acceptance Agreement for the Grow Your Own grant. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, approve a memorandum of understanding between Elizabethton City Schools and Unicoi County Schools for a CTE course exchange program. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second?
Second.
Second. All right. Mr. Van
I was
Huss,
afraid
quick.
that was gonna die for a lack of
Yeah,
second
yeah.
there. So just a little history on this briefly. We had an opportunity last year, a student that came to us pretty far along in their academic career. Well, they were actually a senior, and they had been in another district, and they were very far along in a welding program that basically, if they continued on that program, they would be in position to go to the TCAT here in Elizabethton, take classes that following summer after they graduated, and they would meet the requirements. They would have their welding certificate. And as you know, welders in a lot of situations can almost name their price. There's huge demand for those jobs, and the wages are very, very competitive. So in looking at that, we worked with Carter County Schools, and they were gracious enough to let this student attend Happy Valley High School for a period of the day to take part in their welding program. And so in talking through that situation, we just felt like, well, why should we not maybe have a relationship like this and something documented in place to be able to do this back and forth? There may be a situation where we have a child, a student, that we don't offer a certain program that may make sense for them to have that opportunity. So we're still continuing this process, the memorandum of understanding with Carter County. But in the meantime, we have been working with Unicoi County. As you know, this in one particular situation, it's very difficult to find aviation instructors. We were very fortunate to have Dan Mills as long as we did, and now we have Will Edmonds, who's doing a tremendous job. But Unicoi County was in a similar situation that we were in last year. They had a student that was far along in aviation course, struggled to find an instructor for that. We obviously have one of the best programs around, so we've created a situation where that student can come and take courses here. So he comes over after lunch, I think, takes a class, and then he goes back to Unicoi. And there's no issues with transportation. That's all in the memorandum of understanding. All that's laid out that's not, the school's responsibility. So along those lines, especially in aviation, we want to make sure that all the things like insurance and those type things are covered. And this is a way, if we have this agreement in place, what it says is when that student from wherever they are, when they're with us, they are our student. And if we have a student that goes somewhere else during that time frame, they are their student. This agreement also spells out, we're not looking for a portion of their student funding from the state. That's not what's intended here. This agreement is really all about kids and what's best for kids. So we've come to that agreement. That's not what we're looking for. It does spell out some things like, if there are certain things that a program requires a student, maybe some type of fee or something that program requires our own students to pay, we would ask a student that was coming in to do the same thing. So treating them just as if they were our student, if that makes sense. So that's really the gist of the agreement. This is similar in nature to the agreement that Greene County and Greenville City Schools have. They have a joint facility, a vocational center. So they've been doing this type work for years, where they transport students to that center to do different classes, and you know, a portion of the teachers are Greenville City, and I think a portion's paid for by Greene County. So we're not getting in the weeds on that part, but just the agreement and the partnership, that's not anything new. That's been going on across the state for many, many years. So, do you have questions or thoughts on that?
I know it'd be nice if every high school could have every CTE program, which is just not possible. And I know these don't happen very often,
No.
but when we can help a student or we can get another place to help one of ours, it's certainly
That's right.
worth the effort.
Carter County did not have to do that.
Mhm.
We're very appreciative of that, and we want to be able to reciprocate that, and we have a very similar relationship with Unicoi as well.
Okay.
Mr. Van Hoof,
Yes.
this may be a ridiculous question, but kids from our school would, if they were to get involved with the program at Unicoi County, they would transport themselves there?
That's correct. So that means they would have to be of age, to drive, or a parent would have to transport them. Typically, what we're looking at here are upper-level courses, but again, it spells out in the agreement that that's their responsibility, not either one of the school systems. And again, we're not talking about large groups of students. The examples I gave you are, one kid went to Happy Valley for us, one kid from Unicoi, so we're talking.
I'm not concerned
Yeah.
about the numbers. I don't
Mhm.
think that's gonna be,
Yeah.
shouldn't be a big issue, I would
Yeah.
think. I mean, work it out pretty easily. I'm just concerned about kids getting in their car, during a school day,
Sure.
driving from Elizabeth
Yeah.
to Unicoi or vice
Right,
versa,
right.
you know.
I understand your concern, and what I would say is, in some cases, we have that situation anyway when students leave campus and maybe go to ETSU to take a course.
Yep.
And they're driving as well, so we have some situations already that are similar to that. If a student leaves for work-based learning, drives to a job and may come back to campus. So those same challenges are there regardless if we have this program in place or not. But that is certainly a concern. But the important thing is that everyone knows in advance that's the arrangement and parents are agreeing to, yes, that's what we want our child to do.
Yeah,
So
well, they would sign off.
that's right. Yes, correct.
Can they, I just out of ignorance, if the school presents a program like that, which I think is great, and their child is gonna drive from Elizabeth to Unicoi or vice versa, and God forbid something should happen, where do we stand on, I mean,
I think that the parents taking that responsibility on themselves, if they're allowing them to participate in that program. So during that transportation time, that would be their responsibility, not either district.
okay.
So the students that are coming here for the CT programs that technically aren't Elizabethton High School enrolled students, but they're taking those classes, are they going to have access to all the amenities we do, with the college and career advisors? If they have any questions, is it okay if they do that too? I mean, since technically they're coming here for CT programs and we offer things for people to have instruction through that and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't see an issue with that. I mean, do you see an issue with that, Dr. Mitten, about, like I said, I think this memorandum is all about what's best for kids. So if we have something that would help a student, no matter if they're with us most of the day or another district, I think that's just the right thing to do.
Are those school credits transferable between each?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And this also, there's always a concern about who the teacher of record is. And this agreement puts in place that, if a student is, the aviation student's with us, our aviation teacher is the teacher of record. So there's no issue about, well, did someone teach a course that wasn't certified? Well, yes, and they're the teacher of record based on this. And so we can automatically transfer that score, that grade to Unicoi and vice versa. Any other thoughts?
Helping children or helping students is really what it's about. And I work a lot with Unicoi County and some other systems, and they really are. They're very similar, I think, to where we are on their thoughts about students. They have a large number of people who, so all they do is ensure that their kids are placed and are doing everything they can do to be successful. So, yeah. Okay.
And one last thing, and I'll be quiet. This is obviously all dependent on, do we have space? So there may be some thought that we're going to be inundated with, if we don't have space in the program, that's up to the receiving school whether or not they allow that. So it would always be a situation. Elizabethan kids are always going to come first. So just wanted to make
And
sure that.
I'll be a devil's advocate.
Sure.
Question. I should have asked you this earlier. So, is this where a student started a program and then didn't have a way to finish it, or is this a student who wanted to do that and there was didn't have it there or whatever?
This gives us the freedom to do either, so I think
Okay.
the question would be the same either way. If a sending school requested that of us, we would look, do we have room or not?
Gotcha.
And that's what the answer
Okay.
would be.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else? Okay. The item is to approve a memorandum of understanding between Elizabethton City Schools and Unicoi County Schools for a CTE course exchange program. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next, we'll lump F through J. First item, approve revised board policy 1.106, Code of Ethics. Approve revised board policy 1.107, board member conflict of interest. Approve revised board policy 1.806, advertising and distribution of materials in schools. Approve proposed board policy 4.204, summer instructional programs. And approve proposed board policy 4.603, promotion and retention. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second? Okay.
Okay, so thank you for lumping these together, because that will certainly make the opportunity for me to talk about these easier. If we kind of look at 1.106 and 1.107 first, these changes are changes that were recommended by TSBA, and a couple of things. First of all, the Code of Ethics, and you had a policy. You have a policy for Code of Ethics, and you have a policy for conflict of interest. And some of the language in the Code of Ethics, quite frankly, probably should have been in the conflicts of interest policy. So that's one thing they went through and kind of straightened out. So the language and the nature of each of these policies has a natural flow to it. So there's really not anything that was in one that wasn't in the other than the Code of Ethics, and it spells out in, that's 1.106. So in lines 7 through 11, it talks about the fact that board members or employees, they can't accept gifts and things like that. In 7 through 11, it makes one exception to that. It says it should not be considered a violation of this policy for a board member or an employee to receive entertainment, food, refreshments, meals, health screenings, amenities, food, or beverages that are provided in connection with a conference sponsored by an established or recognized statewide association of school board officials, or by an umbrella or affiliate organization of such statewide associations of school board officials. So in essence, if you go to an event, let's just say take TSBA. If you go to an event and they have a vendor there that provides lunch, I think there was some confusion about whether or not you could eat that lunch. Would that be a conflict of interest? Because especially if you do business with that particular vendor. So they wanted to put language in there that cleared that up, that made it obvious to everyone that that was not a violation. So again, moved over some things out of Code of Ethics to conflict of interest, and then added that particular language in Code of Ethics. So that's 1.106 and 1.107. Questions on those two? Okay. Next one, 1.806. I had some principals that came to me out of concern about the time and the number of requests that they were receiving from outside groups and entities that were interested in advertising different type things to our students. Now, I'm not talking about private groups, for-profit, things like that. Board policy that we currently have already eliminates that. But sometimes there's some really beneficial causes and things out there that are legitimate, but it just seems like the number of those continue to increase. And so when that happens, there's a whole process they go through. Number one, principal's going to send them to someone here at the central office to determine whether or not we're okay sharing that information. And then if so, the next question is, if it's going home to children, well, how many do you have at each school? You know, and then, as Ms. Schaff can probably tell us, then you get a stack of 400 flyers, and then someone's in there counting out 25 to put in each teacher mailbox to hand out. So there's a lot, it's pretty labor intensive when those type things happen. So we were looking at a way to tighten it down a little bit more, plus be able to protect us, because right now the way the policy is written is essentially any nonprofit is, by the policy, is able to do that through the school system. So this would tighten that down some, and it would be any organization that has some type of relationship or partnership with either a school, a club, or a support organization. So let's say a school is doing, this is the example I used the other day, is a school's doing Jump Rope for Heart, and they want to send information home about Jump Rope for Heart. Yes, that would be something that's approved because they're working with an organization or a part of the school system. But something like someone just advertising for a basketball camp that's not working with our basketball team, the answer would be no, because that's not affiliated with one of our programs. So I hope that makes sense. And again, there's going to be some really good, high quality organizations that want to advertise with us that with this policy we'll have to respectfully say no. But again, I think this tightens it down and frees our administrators and school staff up to do what they're there for. Let's just be honest, it's a captive audience. We have 2,800 students roughly in our system. So if someone has something they want to get out, we're a great way to do that, and I understand that. And I don't have a problem with that per se, but we're just, the number of those requests continues to increase. So, but again, just to make clear, there'll be some good organizations that we'll have to say no to because they're not in some type of partnership or working with one of these organizations that are affiliated with the school. So that's the bad part. So, but just to be transparent on that. So, questions on that? Comments, thoughts?
I
Okay.
wish that
Oh,
we
sorry.
could do like food distribution schedules and things like that for kids to take home, you know, from area churches, but I know that's off the,
Yeah, it cracks that door that
opens up.
makes
a
it
lot.
hard to say no. If we say yes to one,
Yeah.
we have to be prepared to say yes to all. And that's what we're trying to hone back down.
Yeah.
But again, great things, you're exactly right. Now, if they're partnering with some type of backpack program with the school or something, there's an organization that they're working with, a PTAC or something like that, then the answer would be yes. No questions on that one? Okay, the last two, 4.204 and 4.603, both of these policies, these changes are in reference to third grade retention and the attendance policy that is in place in current legislation for anyone that's required to attend a summer learning camp. And that requirement basically says that students who fall into the criteria for required attendance to summer programming in order to be promoted to the fourth grade must attend with a 90% rate. These days will be documented and options for makeup days will be provided by the summer programming committee. So we felt like it was really important to go ahead and put that attendance requirement in policy, so we put it in two different places. So this 4.204 is summer instructional programs, and 4.603 is promotion and retention. So we just really felt that it was important to have that in multiple places, and we'll continue to get the word out about that. I will tell you that with our summer programming, our proposal is we'll continue to do 4 days a week for 4 consecutive weeks, And our plan is, so that would be Monday through Thursday, then we're gonna take Friday of each of those weeks and have a makeup day. So if a student misses, a third grader misses one of those 4 days, we'll have Friday as a makeup. So hopefully we'll be able to take that and keep everyone, help them meet the attendance requirement without having to do anything else beyond that. There is an option to do it after school, once the next school year starts, but you have to make up hour for hour. So you can imagine, if one day it's 6 hours of instruction, then that means 6 hours we're gonna have to do. So if you do 1 hour after school, that's 6 days to get 1 day. So we're hoping that this Friday arrangement will take care of most of those attendance issues that may come up. So that's all that's new in those two policies. So questions on those?
Any question about any of the 5? All right. The items to approve: revised board policy 1.106 Code of Ethics, approved revised board policy 1.107 board members in conflict of interest, 1.806 advertising and distribution of materials in schools, proposed board policy 4.204 summer instruction programs, and 4.603 promotion and retention. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? I heard none. Okay. Just a reminder that we will have a budget workshop after this. We'll take a quick break if anybody needs to. But the next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held Thursday, the 20th day of April, hard to believe, April, here at 5:30 in the Mac Pierce Boardroom. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you all.